Sue Tranchina, and I am a business technology and video production teacher at Shore Regional High School in West Long Branch, New Jersey. I've been teaching for about 11 years, and I've been asked to prepare a technology lesson for you today. So I know that things are a little crazy right now where we're at home and we're not at school, and technology is one of the more difficult things to do in a remote learning style because our technology can be limited when we're at school, but sometimes it's even more limited when we're at home. So I've designed a lesson for you today all about blogs, podcasts, and vlogs. And no matter what technology you have, whether it's a very low amount or you would consider yourself to be really advanced with technology, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to create either a blog, a podcast, or if you're super brave, a vlog. You might be asking yourself, why do I need to know about this? Well, a blog, podcast, or a vlog is a different type of media, or the plural, which we would call medium. These are tools that are used to communicate a message to your audience. Blogs, podcasts, and vlogs are emerging technologies in all industries, but especially in education and in business. In education, blogs, podcasts, and vlogs can increase student literacy, give students an opportunity to show their creative side, and give students a chance to choose the tool that they would like to use to most comfortably, effectively, and confidently show their teacher how much they know about their course content. So if you're still questioning, why do I need to know about blogs, podcasts, and vlogs? Well, I have a couple statistics for you. Did you know that over 3/4 of all internet users say that they read blogs regularly? Did you know that there are currently 900,000 active podcasts and over 30 million podcast episodes? And probably not too surprising to anyone is that the most popular site for vlogs or video blogs is YouTube. But something that I found pretty surprising was that there are 500 hours of video uploads that occur every minute on YouTube. And about 5 billion YouTube videos are viewed on average every single day worldwide. And these numbers are all going up. These mediums are growing year on year. So if you can understand what they are now and understand how to effectively create them, you could be really setting yourself up for a prosperous and successful future, filled with a lot of creativity and fun. I've planned a pretty simple agenda for today's lesson. Together, we will define and better understand what a blog, a podcast, and a vlog are. We'll explain the main differences between them as well as the different types of posts that you can create. We'll explain how they can be used to connect you with others and discuss ways that these could possibly even help an audience. We'll also discuss who your audience is and how to choose the best topic. After we're done with that, we're going to move into deciding which tool you want to actually create yourself. And by the end of this lesson, you will have created either a blog, a podcast, or a vlog. To begin, I'm going to briefly define what a blog, a podcast, and a vlog are. I'm primarily going to do this so that you know what I'm talking about for the rest of the lesson, but also so that we can set that foundation in you understanding more about each one of these tools and understanding what constitutes each one of them, but also what makes them a little bit different. This will help you decide which tool is best for you to start with. A blog actually comes from the term web and log being brought together to form a blog, or web and logging for blogging. This is where you would write and use other visuals such as photographs or graphics, clip art maybe. Everything is saved in one location. This can be on something as simple as a Google Doc or a simple site, especially if you're a student like Google Sites, or you can do this on the web with an actual website and your own domain. Now, podcasting is where you are going to speak to your audience. This I'm going to recommend that you actually start to hammer down a little bit of an agenda so that you don't sound like you're all over the place. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we dive deeper into these definitions. But you have to remember that you are only using audio for your podcast. Now, that doesn't mean that podcasters don't also have blogs, but as a podcaster, you need to be able to speak to your audience in your own voice so that they can visualize in their minds what you're referencing. For podcasting, you are going to need to understand a moderate level of technology, such as how to record audio, whether you're on a phone or whether you're using some kind of an app. And then you're also going to need a place to share that podcast, if that's what you decide to do. Now, vlogging, which is my favorite, is a combination of video and web and log or logging, which will give you a vlog or vlogging. This is where you are going to create a video to get your message to your audience. So you get the audio and the visual aspects in the vlog. Now, vlogging is relatively new, and it's a technology that a lot of businesses are just starting to implement in marketing because there's such a high return on investment when it comes to creating a vlog. You're just really able to engage your audience. So whether you're doing this for personal purposes or for business purposes, a vlog can be really, really great for engaging your audience. Now with vlogging, because you would essentially be creating a video and editing it and then sharing it on a platform, you are going to need the highest level of technology knowledge in comparison to the other two tools. So if you have experience with videography, even the slightest, then maybe vlogging is for you. Now, if you don't have experience with video editing and video recording and cinematography, that's okay. Don't feel discouraged. There are a ton of tools out there like Screencastify or Flipgrid where you can very, very quickly make an engaging and quick video message for your audience. Before we dive deeper into each of these three tools, and before we explore how to choose your topic and how to better understand your audience, I'm going to do a really quick check for understanding. Ready? Let's do it. Number 1, blank is a tool used to communicate a message to your audience. Is it A, a hammer, or B, media or medium? Well, I promise you we are not using a hammer to communicate a message to our audience. Maybe if this was a mob film, and I mean we are in New Jersey, but the correct answer for this one is media is a tool used to communicate a message to your audience, letter B. Question 2, this uses your voice only to get your message to your audience. Is it A, a vlog, or is it B, a podcast? Now remember, a vlog uses video as well as audio, so the correct answer here is letter B, podcast. And our final question, a simple way of sharing information with an audience is by using A, blog, or B, vlog. And the correct answer here is letter A. The simplest way of sharing information with an audience is by using a blog. Great job, guys. So target audience is a specific group of people with a specific age range and specific interests that might be really interested in what you have to share. If you're familiar with YouTube, you might call these people your subscribers, but blogs can also have subscribers, as can podcasts. And this target audience is going to be really excited every single time you release new content, and they're really going to benefit from the information that you share with them. I'm an aspiring blogger and vlogger, and I started my own blog about a year ago called How To with Sue. Now, I picked something that I'm really good at, and that's technology and education. And my goal is to help my audience get better at technology in education. Now, some of you may know about blogs or podcasts, and some of you may even follow people on YouTube that create different types of vlogs. But when deciding what kind of a vlog, podcast, or blog you want to create, you're going to want to pick something that you're really interested in and that you know a lot about, and that then you can share with an audience. Now, the audience doesn't have to be big. It can be a sibling, it can be a parent or guardian, it can even just be your teacher. Or maybe you'll have a virtual audience and a huge following of thousands of people that find your resources to be really, really helpful. No matter the audience, no matter your topic, this is an opportunity for you to show the world everything that you know about something using a different type of tool. Now, these topics for your blog or your podcast or your vlog don't have to be complex. They can literally be, this is what I had for breakfast today, or check out what I found outside on my hike. You can do something like showing your skills on your trampoline, or explaining to an audience how you're surviving the quarantine with your little sibling. Maybe you are really talented with music, and it can be about playing the guitar or being a songwriter. Maybe you love creative writing or poetry. Maybe you're really good at all of those things, but you're also really good at cooking or at coordinating really funky outfits. This can even be related to education, from physical education to physical science, even to mathematics. You can create a blog that can help people and show your audience how much you know about a topic. You can make these very fun. So now it's time to pick our topic. So take out a piece of paper or a computer, open up a brand new doc, and write down who you are, something that you're really, really good at, and things that you can maybe tell people that could help get them to be as good as you are. In our lesson intro, we briefly talked about what a blog is. Now we're going to dive just a little bit deeper so that you have a better understanding. Starting off with blog, the word blog actually came from web log, so logging things on the web. But you don't need the internet in order to create a blog. It's the simplest way of sharing your information. Writing is always going to be your top priority with a blog, and your audience is going to be expecting some very clear, easy to read, grammatically correct writing samples by you. Remember, a lot of people may end up just skimming your blog, so you might want to incorporate some bullet points, some titles, and some emphasis on your different text styles, so a variety of colors, as well as either bolding or using italics or underlining. With a blog, you're able to share visuals, so it's really important to make sure that you have permission to share those visuals. What do I mean by visuals? I mean clip art or pictures, photograph, images, infographics. You can even embed YouTube videos in your blog. You just want to make sure that you have permission to use it first. One of my favorite ways of using blog, and a way that I personally like to use it, is to promote your podcast or your vlog, because you're not able to show visuals with your podcast. And sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a landing pad for the information that you might talk about on your vlog. Keep in mind that when you're writing your blog that you are the expert. You're choosing what you'd like to write about because you're the one that has something to share. And I'd say that the best part about keeping the blog as simple as possible is that there's no need to record anything. So you can just start typing up a blog and then save a draft of it and come back to it whenever you have a little bit of extra time to do it. You're not recording audio or video, and you can really compose your blog posts anytime and anywhere. To create the blog, you don't really need much at all. All that you need to do is be able to write down some information, if possible, take a couple pictures, or even just cut things out of a magazine, recipes that you like, athletes that you like, movie stars, different types of clothing, if it's a fashion blog or a hair blog, whatever it might be. Now, I'm aspiring to be a good blogger and a good vlogger or video blogger, but I wouldn't say that I'm amazing at it just yet. So what I did was I contacted a couple of my friends, all of which happen to be teachers or professors also in New Jersey, to help us out with today's lesson. Now we're going to toss it over to my friend Bruce. Bruce introduces blogging to his middle school students. What does he have them do? He has them run outside, come back in, and write about the things that they saw or the things that they did. Yes, my friends, that is a blog. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about it. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Sue. Thank you so much for having me today, and great to see everybody out there. Today I'm going to talk about two B's, talking about blogging and also balance, both of those things together. I'm Bruce. I'm a technology teacher in New Jersey. I do teach grade 6, and these are two things that we talk about a lot of. If you're going to have digital balance through digital citizenship, then you can't be on a device the whole time. My students actually go and do chart out their day after school and do a spreadsheet and then come back and then write about it in a blog. And you don't have to do that to do anything at all online, but all offline. It would be terrific if you can put down the phone, put down the remote, whatever you have right now. If you are online, you're probably watching this show right now. After the show's over, turn it off and go outside and start doing something offline. It's so important that you go and do something outside, whether it's take a walk with your family, play hoops, figure out some game in the backyard, something that you could do to just step away from the technology and to be digitally balanced. And then once you're done with it and you play outside for a while, come back in, don't go on a device, but grab a pen or pencil and just start jotting down exactly what you did and maybe how it made you feel a little bit better. My students actually, after they chart this, they come in the next class and actually go into a Google Doc and they do a blog. This is not a live blog that we do. We don't post it any place, but we do a blog for every single thing that we learn in the class, and digital balance is definitely a huge one right now that it's very difficult if you're on your device all day working hard at school, then you take a break and you go over to your iPad and go over to something else, and the whole day you're looking at a screen. So wellness is so important, and definitely once the show is over, once you see this, go outside, play outside. You could play with family, with your parents if they're home. Go outside and have a good time. Okay, so that's a message for today. And then when you come back in, just jot something down on a piece of paper, what you did, and that could be the start of your blog. It could even just be bullet points. It doesn't have to be, full sentences. So my message for you and for Sue and everybody is take your phone, put it down, take the remote, put it down, take whatever you're doing with gaming and maybe put it down. And also this one too, which is an old one that maybe you don't use anymore, but this was also a remote at one time for a gaming system, a joystick. Put all of that down, go outside, enjoy the outside, take a break, be digitally balanced, and you're definitely going to feel better, once you do this. All right, now back to you, Sue. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
I love how Bruce dives into not just the simplicity of creating a blog with his students, but also the importance of creating a balance between being in front of a device as well as being at home with just your piece of paper and your pen or your crayon or your paint. I think it's really important to know where inspiration for your topics and for these blog posts can come from. And a lot of the time, that inspiration isn't going to come from sitting indoors. It's going to come from walking outside, putting down your device, and just opening up your eyes to the beauty of the world around you. So that brings us to some of my favorite educational tools that you as a student could use in an effort to create your own blog. But don't let this rule stifle your creativity, because don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of really successful blogs, podcasts, and vlogs about video gaming and technology. Some of my favorite education tools for blogging are a paper with some photos, docs, slides. Google Sites is a really simple way of creating a site, and even Blogger, which is a free Google-based platform for anyone thinking about starting a blog that actually is web-based. So as mentioned, one of the best online resources, especially for younger students, in order to practice creating a blog would be a Google Doc. On this doc, you can change the formatting of the page if you'd like to do so. All of that's going to be underneath File, Page Setup. You could give this a title up here. You can even format it with a table if you like to do that, really whatever your heart desires. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to give this numbers because this is a numbered list. And then in addition to that list, I might want to elaborate a little bit on each one of these sections. And then I can insert an image supporting the information that I just written, but then make individual titles down here where I further elaborate about each one of my top 5 things. I can also, and some people don't know about this with Google Docs, if you're using Google Docs, you can also hit this little explore button down here, and you can search different things up here and find an image right offline to maybe put in for the second part of my post. Okay, now with Google Sites, you can go to sites.google.com or sites.new to create a new site. It actually looks like a web page. And you can publish this if you choose to. So then this could be Sue's blog. You can see that I could add different pages, add different themes. So maybe I want to go with a different theme. And then I can choose to insert different items. Maybe I'll add some text here. And then I can choose one of these different layouts over here. And then simply upload a picture that I have on my computer or from my drive. If you've had a YouTube video that you created or one that you'd like to reference in your blog that you got permission to use, you can simply click on the YouTube button, go to uploaded. It'll give you a list of your different videos that you've created, and then you can simply embed it right here on your Google site. And when you're all done, you can simply hit the publish button, give it a name, and hit publish. As you can see right there. Now, to discuss about a really specific and reoccurring style of blogging, I actually asked my friend Mr. Corley, who's a math teacher in New Jersey and also a reoccurring blogger, why he loves blogging and how it helps other math teachers. He writes, "Blogging is a great way to share techniques, successes, and challenges happening in your classroom. A blog gives you the ability to explain, add pictures, and tell a story. Blogging is a way that math teachers support one another and create a sense of community between teachers throughout the world. Okay, the second part of our segment is going to be all about podcasting. Now, just like with blogging, it's really important with podcasting to be able to define who your target audience is and what do you want to tell them about. A podcast is going to be an audio recording where you are speaking directly to your audience. So audio only. Granted, this is going to have some limitations because your audience can only hear your voice. So you're really going to want to pre-plan out these podcasts so that you'll have a minimum amount of editing after you're done and so that your audience doesn't feel like they've gotten lost. So having a very clear and concise agenda is really important for your podcast. One really great thing that you can do is invite experts in for interviews. Now, these don't have to be experts, especially if this is going to be some of your first podcasting. But if you're going to do a podcast on the Revolutionary War, it might be a good idea to interview a history teacher. If you're going to do a podcast on your family's famous apple pie recipe, maybe you're going to be calling Aunt Kathy for that one. In the professional world, if you're going to create a podcast on entrepreneurship, maybe you can contact a very successful business owner or a shark. For a podcast, it is necessary to be a little techie. You do have to understand how to record audio. But one of the biggest benefits of podcasting is that your audience will hear your words in your voice. It's one of the most authentic ways for you to be able to get your message across. Podcasters tend to have regular listeners that will subscribe to their podcasts, as podcasts are really easy to access and listen to no matter what you happen to be doing. Even if you're driving, you can listen to a podcast. And this is probably my best recommendation for you if you're feeling a little camera shy, as everyone's going to hear your voice, but no one has to see your face. Going back to the blog, and as I said previously, my recommendation to you is to use a blog and reference that blog in your podcast so that you have a landing pad for other information. So if you make a list of your top 10 favorite people to follow on YouTube, then you can refer your audience from your podcast back to your blog where you have those 10 people bullet pointed. My good friend Miss B from New Jersey City University is an adjunct professor and also the host of a podcast. She's going to explain to us what podcasting is, a little bit about her own podcast, and how it can help her audience.
Hello, my name is Miss Bana, or Miss B for short, and today I want to talk a little bit about podcasting. So what is podcasting, really? Simply put, podcasting is an audio program that you can listen to, kind of like talk radio, but you subscribe to it on your smartphone, and you can listen to it whenever you'd like. In a little bit more detail, though, a podcast is a series of spoken word audio episodes that are focused around a particular topic or content, such as football or cooking. You can subscribe to the show with an app on your phone, such as Apple Podcasts, and then you can listen to these episodes whenever you'd like by putting in your headphones while you're taking a walk or you're driving in the car. So why podcasts are helpful is because they allow the listener to really listen whenever they want and do just that. You're in control and you can listen to as many podcast episodes as you'd want in one session and stop whenever you need. Just like video, you can rewind it and go back to re-listen to something over again. And sometimes you get a little bit more detail with a podcast that you might not necessarily get when you're just reading a book or an article in a magazine. As an added bonus, though, podcasts allow people, especially when there's interviews being conducted, to really tell their stories in their own voice. And it's really helpful. Think about it like this. When an author reads their own textbook and you can hear exactly how the story was meant to be read, it adds a little bit of something else to the experience of understanding what it is that the author was trying to convey. And so when you're listening to a podcast, this is a very similar experience. I run a podcast called Taking Control, and I spell control not like CONTROL, but with CTRL, like the computer key, because my podcast focuses on people that are generally women and other minorities that are trying to break into the fields of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and they're trying to either get into college or they're trying to go for their first job or even a better job in their careers as engineers, perhaps, or mathematicians. And so I've tried to build a network for people to help each other through their experiences, share what it's like to be able to enter the fields and work through problems by using strategies to reach good solutions that'll work best for them. So I hope that you understand a little bit about what podcasting is now. And if you're interested in researching a little bit more about podcasting, which you should, I invite you wholeheartedly to take a look at that.
Isn't that amazing? Miss B is using podcasts to reach out to her audience and tell them all about different ways that they can excel in their careers someday. Now, again, your podcast can be very simple. You can invite people to join you as you discuss different topics. You can just talk about your day or your experiences. Something else, another really great idea that I love about podcasts is that this can really be an opinion piece too, how you feel about a topic. Is there a book that you love that you'd like to do a critique on, or a movie, or a scene from a movie even? But if there is a message that you would like to get across and you want your audience to hear it from your voice, podcasting might be the tool that you can use. Now, having a purpose to your podcast is something that could be really, really wonderful. And a friend of mine who goes by the Tech Lady, Mrs. Matina, has a podcast called The Sweet Talk. And she wanted to give a little bit of inspiration to those of you out there that are thinking about starting a podcast. She writes, The Sweet Talk is a show about helping educators integrate technology effectively in their classroom. My motto is and always has been to pay it forward, and I give educators a platform to share and help other educators use technology and align it with their content. My show has helped educators around the world, and I'm truly thankful for everyone who shared and connected with me and helped me pay it forward. So Mrs. Matina's podcast is being used as a platform for teachers to share their best practices and inspire other teachers to step outside their comfort zone and incorporate more technology into their curriculum. But there are podcasts about everything out there, whether it's the news or politics, whether it's about music and the arts, or even wrestling, like the wild wrestling. You can really make a podcast about anything that you'd like. And I'm sure that there's a message that you want to share with your audience. And maybe for you, podcasting is the tool that you should be using. Two education tools that I love for podcasting are Flipgrid and Screencastify, both of which you can hide your face and only let your voice be heard. So if you're a little shy about being on camera, but you still want to get your message across, these are two tools that I would definitely recommend that you use. If you don't have access to these, that's fine too. You can simply use a parent's phone, or if you have your own phone, depending on how old you are watching this right now, you can record just a video and you can put something in front of the camera so that only your audio is heard. Or if you can find an area where you can record strictly audio files on your phone, you can use that too. I think that one of the simplest ways to record a podcast is going to be using the voice memo. I have an iPhone, so that's what mine is called. Yours may be called something else, or you may have to download an app for voice notes on your phone, but this is actually a really great tool. You can just simply record your podcast and then you can share it out via email, or you can send it to your Drive. You could send it out to other resources. So there are a lot of educators that use Screencastify and a lot of students that also use Screencastify. If you are familiar with it, then there is a way to use it for podcasting. And if you are not familiar with it, I would recommend getting familiar with it because it's an excellent tool and you get the light version for free if you are a student or a teacher. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they are also offering the premium package at a discounted rate or free. I believe that the code for it to be free is CAST, C-A-S-T, _COVID, COVID. And I believe that that will get you the premium package until the end of April. So how do you use Screencastify for capturing audio recordings, and in what ways can you use these audio recordings? So I'm actually on the site right now for Screencastify. I'm screencasting the Screencastify site. I know it's crazy. But I just wanted to show you that they actually give a lot of recommendations in their own blog about different ways to use an MP3, which is how you can download your audio files. Creating a voice memo, so you could do this with a to-do list, brainstorming by voice, model your pronunciation, creating an audio book, practicing a speech, and then creating a class podcast is, of course, on that list. Recording your whole group instruction, recording class discussions, creating audio assessments, and so on and so forth. So after you've installed Screencastify, you'll get this little icon up here if you are using a Chrome browser, which I'm currently using. And that is just the extension for Screencastify. So you can see that my desktop is currently being recorded. Now, what I could do here is if this was a vlog instead, I could actually record this with my webcam turned on, but it's very late at night, if you can see my clock, and you don't want to see this right now. So we're going to just go with my voice and call me shy if you'd like. Okay, so as I'm looking at this, now once I hit that stop button on my screencast, what's going to happen is it's going to open up this editor window, which is where my video will go to be compressed and be ready to either be shared or to be downloaded or both. The one thing that many people don't realize is that now you have a download option where you can export your audio only. So if I go ahead and I click that button, what's going to happen is it's going to start to compress only the audio from that video. So it doesn't matter if I recorded this with my webcam on, if I recorded this with my desktop that had my notes and my agenda from my podcast and my interview questions maybe. It doesn't matter because the video doesn't matter. We're not going to save that. We're only going to download the MP3, which is just the audio file of my podcast here. And then if I wanted to, I could open this up and start editing around with it, all right in Screencastify. So it's a really unique way of using a screencasting tool to actually create a podcast. Now, when putting together your podcast, what we wrote down for your blog before is also very important. But remember, with audio, you're going to need some kind of a script. So it's going to be even more important to jot down specific ideas in a method where it doesn't sound like you're reading them off of paper. So you're really going to want to work on being able to deliver this content in a way where you're using your own voice. Don't worry if you're not good at this at first, because it's going to take a lot of practice. But eventually you'll be so good at delivering it, and you'll be so good at interviewing some of your guest speakers maybe that you have on your show, that you'll start to get subscribers if that's what you would like. But again, you can keep this simple, and you can just simply do an audio book review, or you can do an audio review on a movie that you just recently saw, or you can do a step-by-step audio tutorial on how to bake cookies. All of this can be done with just audio. And the final part of our segment is about vlogging. What is a vlog? As a video production teacher, vlogging is definitely my favorite of the three, and I encourage my students to use vlogging any opportunity that they have. Vlog, or video blog, is a way to visually share information with your audience. But as an added bonus, as with all video, you get to create an audio and visual compilation and then share that out with your audience. So you could do a video tutorial where you're speaking directly to your audience and staring right at them through the camera. And then you could also incorporate some sound effects or some background music to keep them further entertained. So for vlogging, you will have to be a little tech savvy. Now, to start off with, you can record this in one straight through recording that has a minimal amount of editing. But as you increase your knowledge of video production and editing video, this is where you can get very creative with your vlogs. You can add in screencasts or other special effects like stop motion animation and time lapse to show time moving quickly. You can incorporate a green screen in the background or text overlays. Again, you can have music and sound effects, which will really personalize the experience for your audience. And if your audience seems to be of a younger age range, then vlogging is probably for you. Global Web Index had a study that actually said that young people prefer vlogging over podcasting and blogging. But if you're camera shy, then my recommendation is going to be to start off with blogging. When you get a little bit brave, try podcasting. And then after you feel really comfortable with podcasting, feel free to make the jump over to vlogging. As mentioned with podcasting, with vlogging, you want to make sure that you do a lot of pre-planning work. You don't want your vlog to be a big old mess and then you can't get your point across to your audience. Even with supporting visual and audio content, you want to make sure that the experience that your audience has is one where they want to stay engaged no matter what you have to share. Now, if you're sitting there and you're saying, well, I've never seen a vlog before. Well, I have news for you, my friends. This is a vlog. You are my target audience, and my purpose is to teach you about blogging, podcasting, and vlogs. So similar to a blog, I do recommend that you write down your ideas before you get started, or else you'll have more retakes than you can count. With a vlog, the possibilities are endless. Now, again, you may be limited based off of the technology that you have at home right now, or when you go back to school, the technology that you have in your classroom. But really, in the simplest form, you could just hit record and start speaking the way that I'm speaking to you right now. Of course, you could just do a cutout of a box and pretend to be on television or on the computer if you'd like to do that. Some of your favorite YouTube stars or TikTok stars now use video to create content that keeps audiences coming back. That is a vlog. They have subscribers or a target audience, as we've discussed with blogging and podcasting. In education, your teachers might use platforms such as Screencastify or Flipgrid or YouTube or even TikTok in order to get an idea across to their students, their audience, about some lesson that they're trying to share. So now I'm going to toss it over to my good friend, Mrs. Yakubov, who's a teacher at Old Bridge High School in Old Bridge, New Jersey, and she's going to share with you how she uses her YouTube channel as well as some TikToks to inspire and educate her students.
Thanks, Mrs. T, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Mrs. Yakubov, and I'm a math teacher over at Old Bridge High School in Old Bridge, New Jersey. I have found that during this remote learning experience that creating YouTube videos for my students, my math tutorial videos, has been super, super helpful. I've gotten really into recording videos for my students because I want them to hear exactly how I would be explaining my content to them, as if they were in my classroom with me. I want them to see exactly the same problems that they would have experienced in my classroom. I would have been teaching on my board, and instead my students get to watch my YouTube videos and actually see those same types of problems in action. It's been making a really good impact with my students. The feedback has been wonderful, and I'm finding that making these videos is also really good for me because I'm noticing that my students are really learning from them. They're doing well on the activities that I have for them after they watch the videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm just really happy that I have this way to reach my students during this time as I'm not with them. Another way I've been connecting with my students also through videos is by making TikTok videos. I can be a little cringy on my TikTok videos, but I think the cringier the better sometimes, but I'm actually tying in math content into my videos so that my students are learning while they're enjoying my video. And sometimes I think my students are learning information from the TikToks and they don't even realize they're learning it until maybe after the fact. But I have found as a teacher, it's been so important for me to make these videos. I continue to make as many as I can each day. Right now I'm in my spring break, so I'm trying to get as many prepped for next week as I possibly can. And I just know that I want my students to see my face. I wish I could see all of their faces, obviously, and be with them, but I know this is the best option I can do right now under these circumstances. And I know that my future students will also be able to enjoy these videos as well for their learning experiences. My YouTube channel, if you want any content, especially it's good for anywhere between 7th grade to 10th grade. I also have geometry videos in there as well. is I Teach Algebra, and it's I Teach Algebra, and my TikTok account is also I Teach Algebra. So if you want to check any of those videos out, you certainly can. If you are a teacher and you want to use the content for your own students in your classroom, please feel free to share it. Thanks so much, Mrs. T. Back to you.
And thank you, Mrs. Yakubov. Thank you so much for being a part of today's segment. So as you can see with Mrs. Yakubov's class, she actually uses her videos to help her students learn. She uses them as tools for instruction for her students. Now, similar to blogging and podcasting, I put together a list of educational tools that students and teachers can use for vlogging. As video becomes an emerging technology in education, this list could be really long if I had more space. And there are a lot of tools that aren't on this list that I do use quite frequently in class. One of them is WeVideo, another one is Adobe Spark, or I use Adobe Premiere Pro in class. But in education primarily, I think that Flipgrid and Screencastify are going to be your two best applications to use. Flipgrid is a really great tool no matter what age your students are. My daughter is in preschool and she's currently using Flipgrid for remote learning. And Screencastify, similar to the podcast tutorial that we went over, Screencastify is just such a great tool. And if you are not too shy to have your face seen, then you can enable your webcam and actually appear anywhere that you'd like on your screen while you're doing a guided tutorial. You can also go full screen on Screencastify and speak into the camera as if it's a webcam and then download or share your video when you're done. You don't have to make this very advanced. You can keep things simple and just take some video with your phone or take some video on a camera that you have and then capture the footage onto a computer. The statistics show that most vloggers are currently using YouTube to share their content out. As previously mentioned, it's not a bad idea to have a podcast or a blog to promote your vlog and to try to generate an audience if that's what you're going for. But I think that YouTube is a really, really great place for you to share your videos out if you want an audience to see them. And then finally, TikTok is definitely an emerging technology. I know that students love it. It keeps your students engaged if you're going to use it in class. I mean, how cool would it be if your teacher used TikTok in class? Of course, I have to say it, please make sure that you do this with adult supervision. One.
Hello everybody, I'm going to play some blocks.
What did you stack? Good job, be careful.
Nice takedown.
Good job. Oh no, here comes Dino! Let's let Dino knock it over. Go ahead, Dino, go ahead!
No,
Oh!
let's make it again.
Okay. One.
Hello everybody, this is Opposites, and I'm learning about bad guy, a joke, and then having a good girl, Wonder Woman,
Little.
and Widow.
And where's the big ball?
I'm sitting in this giant ball.
Whoa, can you bounce? Okay, say bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
It's just a good quality video, not sacrificing any quality, and a little bit less of a headache when it comes to your export in class. And so you're completely comfortable with that one new thing, and then come on back and I'll have some more resources lined up for you. Okay, you got this, you can do this. Thanks for stopping by.
And our final guest speaker for today's segment is Mr. Peroni. Mr. Peroni is a teacher in Union Township, New Jersey. He actually has his students create their content using tools like YouTube and TikTok under adult supervision to respond to questions that he poses. It's a really great way for his students to be super creative and enthusiastic about the content while using advanced technology in his curriculum. Mr. Peroni?
Thank you, Mrs. T. There are so many ways that students and teachers can utilize various platforms such as podcasts, vlogs, and even TikTok for educational purposes, creative purposes, reflection, and self-care. Students, teachers, everyone needs a lot of self-care at this moment. In my class, in my history through pop culture class, we actually had a podcast called Culturally Popped, where my students would share their opinions, their thoughts, and their feelings on different historical and pop culture topics. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now. But now is a great time for students, especially junior high school students, to express themselves in video journals and even TikTok videos, allowing them to talk, to express, to kind of share their feelings. We're living in a historical moment, and it's definitely a time that I'm trying to get my students to document these moments. I try to allow my students to express their thoughts, their feelings, and their knowledge in various ways, many of which allow them to work on their social skills and enhance and nurture their creativity. One option, which I really enjoy and a lot of my students really enjoy, is using TikTok. I'll record a TikTok asking a few specific questions, and then students will record a video, or they'll record a TikTok duet answering those questions and then upload it to Google Classroom. They don't post it, nobody sees it but myself. It's just a fun way to allow them to express themselves, to answer questions, also to be creative. I always try to meet my students where they will be and try to find out what resources they have and then try to use those to obviously cover the material. I also want them to express themselves and to be creative and nurture those skills that we're kind of missing because we're not as connected in person as we used to be. Back to you, Mrs. T.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peroni, and thank you to all of our guest speakers today. And here we are at the end. To conclude, I'm going to bring us back to our lesson agenda that we opened with, where we decided that we would define and understand what blogs, podcasts, and vlogs are, and then we would choose one to create. So have you? Have you chosen what you're going to create? And have you chosen what your topic will be? If not, you can take Bruce's recommendation and possibly step outside to get some inspiration. Or maybe going through the definitions as well as the tools one last time will help you decide. Remember what a blog, a podcast, and a vlog are. A blog is the simplest way to share, where writing is your top priority, but you can also incorporate other visuals. You can promote your podcast or vlog on your blog, but remember that you are the expert of your content. You are the curator and the creator. And you don't have to record it, so you can really work on it anytime, anywhere. Your podcast is going to be your audio only. You can incorporate some audio interviews as well. You need to have a little understanding of technology. But the best part about podcasting is that your audience will hear what you want to say in your actual voice. And your subscribers can be regular listeners to your podcast. And this is a really great option if you're camera shy. A vlog is your video blog. We're going to incorporate audio and visual techniques in order to create an engaging and personalized experience for your audience. Now you can do this by speaking directly to them through the camera, or by being super tech savvy and incorporating text, special effects, fun transitions, and other video techniques. This can cater to a younger audience, but really it's for everyone. And this is probably not a good option for you if you happen to be camera shy. Remembering back to our tools, for a blog, you really might only need a paper with some photos. We went over how to use a doc to create a blog or Google Slides, and we also looked at Google Sites. We discussed Blogger. For podcasts, I told you that I love Flipgrid and Screencastify, but a webcam, a phone camera, or an audio recording are still really great options. And for your vlog, I showed you examples using Flipgrid and Screencastify. You could just use a camera or a phone. And YouTube is a great platform to put your vlogs on. We also got to hear from Mrs. Yakubov and Mr. Peroni, who have just started using TikTok in their class as forms of vlogs to engage their students and teach them about things. If you're still not completely comfortable, just practice. You might not get it right the first time, and that's okay. Practice your podcast while staring at yourself in the mirror. Practice your vlog with your family and friends. And if you happen to be one of the very few who know exactly what your topic will be, then go ahead and create it and don't let me get in your way. Have a great time creating your own blog, podcast, and vlog, and I can't wait to see what you create. Remember that as with everything, practice makes perfect. And your first blog, podcast, or vlog is going to be far from perfect. But it'll get better. And you'll try new things, and you'll realize things that work and things that don't work. You'll realize content that people enjoy watching versus content that maybe some people aren't as interested in. And you'll develop some new skills. Maybe for your vlog, this will be with editing or incorporating more text or using a green screen. No matter what, if you have a message, it should be shared. And if that message can help other people, then that's really a great thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you learned something about blogging, podcasting, and vlogging. I'm Sue Tranchina, or Mrs. T. Have a great night.